This is the first video that we've done in a while on the Modelo virus 19. So it's still going on. No matter, I know there's like all these sort of narratives and storylines that are attached to this year. But this is sort of been going on for 5 months, and still a lot of craziness within this community of politicians, thought leaders, blue check marks, influencers. And I don't want to let anything just kind of get swept under the rug here. So I've been trying to get back to really highlighting all of what's going on when it comes to this, most of the reaction to this whole virus thing. Before I get going, again, your support has been insane. We have been going off, man, with the live streams, man. We've had a series of debates. I want to get back to like some art stuff as well, like culture, like more so like the comic book stuff, like just straight politic related stuff. It's just gonna take some time because I'm all in different things right now. So many different things that I'm doing and I'm involved in. So those have kind of been put to the forefront because most of that has been political, to be fair. And yeah, I've been doing a lot of videos and stuff in that field right there. And obviously we've been doing a bunch of streams surrounding that in addition to the Ghost of Tsushima stuff. So thank you for all the support. You guys have been crazy with that. Today we're going to be talking about Andrew Cuomo. But it's not just him. There are multiple guys that are involved that make themselves to be the make themselves out to be the hypocrites that they are. I've been covering this since it started, and I told y'all how a lot of the rules were completely arbitrary. More so, the enforcements of said rules were completely arbitrary. It didn't make sense. What you were allowed to do versus what you couldn't do just didn't make sense. Yet a lot of people all across the country have, not even all across the country, all across the world have just accepted it for what it is. Like, hey, they say social distance, wear a mask, whatever the state says. This is because they're scared, right? They're scared. This sickness a virus has scared the mess out of so many people, and it scared them so much that they can't even be logical or more so logically consistent on this particular issue. But what Cuomo does and what we're about to highlight is he shows exactly how it is complete nonsense and complete arbitrary as far as how they crack down on the rules that they've given you. And that is important because, yes, they've been playing politics with this virus. And I don't really even give a damn where you're at on it. Where you're at on the virus stuff doesn't really matter. I know some of y'all are uber, like, I would just call you scared. Just call it what it is. And you feel like everybody should be sitting down, not moving, covering their face in the event that they go out. Country should be locked down by way of the state. Dogs going crazy. But this is, I guess they not gonna let me do my video, huh? Anyway, but this is, this is where we're at with it, man. I mean, it's a lot of people are scared, and when they're scared, you can control them fairly easily. There's all these sorts of debates. Science community, man. If anything outside of this, like if we get on the other side of this, science community has been compromised. Straight up compromised. It's clear when you hook that politic to it, it gets muddy. It gets muddy. It gets real muddy. Nonetheless, let's talk about this guy. Andrew Cuomo says, he shows a video. And I guess there was a concert in Southampton on Saturday. And he says it shows egregious social distancing violations. I'm appalled, shocked, I tell you. The Department of Health will conduct an investigation. We have no tolerance for the illegal, reckless endangerment of public health. Okay, so there's this event that's been coming out, and you've seen this. People have been taking pictures, snitching on their neighbors, showing, hey, look at this guy. He's not wearing a mask. Look at these guys, groups of guys. They're not social distancing. Okay, gotcha. I think that's whack, but all right, let's talk about this real quick. There's something that's been going on for the last, I would say, 2 months and some change, maybe? That has been going on in pockets around the country. Where at one point in time, it was like almost everywhere, it seemed like, at least in every state. And there was things that people were doing that were the same, that the politicians not only agreed upon, they encouraged. They used their experts to try to say that, well, these guys aren't responsible for the potential spread. Okay, makes absolutely no sense, but I got you. These guys are, though, the guys at the concert. Okay, cool. But what that event was and is the act of protesting. People have been linking up, marching, among other things, for a while. Now, I thought after the George Floyd thing popped up, I thought, like, okay, there's no way these guys can, the covenant is dead. Like, right, there's no way these guys can go back on this, considering that they've greenlit all of these things. But no, that's not what happened. The protests are still going on, by the way, in a lot of parts of throughout the country. Obviously in the upper, like the Northwest, of course, the Portlands of the world, more so the Seattles. They've been like protesting for like 50 days. But it have been happening all over the country. And there aren't many politicians that are condemning it, not the ones that are hawks on the whole social distancing thing. So let me get this straight. And this is why I told you guys that the game is rigged. This is a rigged game, and it's important that you understand what it is that we're dealing with. It's completely rigged. It doesn't even make sense. But you can link up, and this is, again, happening more often than not, or more often than the comparison like to the concert thing, where people are just linking up. We have so many protests that have happened across the nation. So you can link up with all of these other individuals, be shoulder to shoulder, marching, and that's fine. You can do that. But what you can't do is go to a concert. That doesn't make sense, okay? It makes zero sense. I know you guys like to pretend that Doctor Strange set some kind of spell, right? And he guards all of the protesters. And then they use the experts to say, well, it's not them. That's not the reason why this thing is spreading. It is completely illogical to condemn one and not the other. But you're seeing that one's a hawk and one's not. Or they're more hawkish on one than the other. So you can't do these other things, but you can protest. You can protest now. You can protest. Now, these other things, absolutely not. That you become a danger to society when you do that, because the protest is essential, I guess. But you would think that they would condemn that if this is something that absolutely in opposition. And I asked Cuomo, of course, like, well, how do you feel about the protest? Are you going to condemn the protest? Of course not. I know he's not going to condemn the protest. He's not going to condemn the protest. None of these, definitely specifically the leftist welfare staters, are going to condemn the protest or not. They're not going to condemn the protest, which, again, is happening more often, right? And it's people linked up violating social distance rules. It makes no sense. It's illogical. You cannot explain it. You cannot explain it from a scientific virology position, how somehow the virus would spread at the concert, but it wouldn't spread at the protest. You can't. You cannot. It makes no sense. And we know it, right? We know anybody with half a brain, not even a full brain, half a brain can understand, a quarter of a brain can understand that. You can. It's very easy to understand. So this is why, for those that even are the more, okay, we need a social distance, government needs to force. Okay, whatever. But even for you guys, you cannot dispute this idea that this is we're playing politics, and a lot of it's arbitrary, but we're playing politics. That's what this is. This is exactly what this is about. Let's not pretend like it's anything else. There's a reason why they would authorize certain things, like a protest, for example, and not authorize that. And it has nothing to do with what's essential or no. That has nothing to do with anything. These people aren't going like whether you're protesting or whether you're at a concert. You're not doing anything in regards to like getting food or something like that. That's not what you're doing. So, and again, I'm not one of those guys that's telling you guys the social distance where I'm at. That's not me. I'm just showing you how completely arbitrary it is when it comes to enforcing those rules. That's all I'm doing. It's completely bogus. So again, no matter where you're at, you have to ask yourself, why are they doing it? It's a spit in the face. It's a spit in the face to every single individual that can't open their business. You can't go to the gym. You can't do all of these other different things. You can still protest, and they'll find all of these other things. If you open, you get fined. You may go to jail, go to prison. You get caught doing all of this. You can't do all of those other things. They say that you can't do it, and then they leave room for error for something that is happening all across the nation in protesting. That is fine, but you can't go to the gym. You can't go to, have X amount of people go to your funeral. Can't go to church, worship, sing, and stuff like that. You can't do none of that stuff, but what you can do is protest. Can't go to a concert, but you can protest. It makes no sense. So every single person who is green lighting, authorizing, encouraging the protest while then condemning people doing other things that, let's say, require them to be among other people are completely full of crap. If they're not consistent on condemning the protest and condemning, let's say, other things that they're doing, then it's just nonsense. They're just playing politics. There's just certain things that they say, well, we can violate our rules when you're doing what we want you to do. But if you're not, then you can't. That's simply all that it is. Even though, the virus doesn't care. The virus is not like, oh, these guys are protesting, these guys are at the concert. Let's go to the concert and infect everybody else instead of the protest. They're not making those decisions. That's not how the virus works. You cannot explain from a scientific standpoint. You cannot explain exactly what's happening. Even from what I saw, this looked to be that a lot of these guys, they're wearing masks. So it's not like, I know a lot of people would say when it came to the protest, well, they were wearing masks. That's why. Like, okay, they're wearing masks too. So what's the problem? It's bogus. But Cuomo did just highlight just that. These guys are going out of their way to go find other things that people do in big groups, let's say, and violate the social distancing policies. They're looking for people that do that while just either ignoring or worse, encouraging people. So I don't even care where you're at. Remember, I don't agree with any of this crap anyway, like as far as social distancing rules and any of that. I think all of this, like the fact that there's people being held hostage for, let's say, a more vulnerable population is wrong. Right. I've talked about this long ago. Like the decision should have been made by way of the individuals. Take whatever precautions that make you feel safe. Wear a mask, social distance for that matter. Individual business owners can enforce whatever rules on their property, be it mask, social distancing, all that, whatever it is. But it's wrong to be trying to force everybody as one size fits all, even though, for one, we know that the virus does not impact everybody the same way. And it does have a slant when it comes to the age and health status of demographic. And I feel like, as we always have when it came to viruses and bacteria and other things, we should be able to assume the risk. And if you don't want to assume the risk, stay at home. Nonetheless, it's not your decision to make on my behalf and vice versa. That's been my position. So I wanted to throw that out there because that doesn't change what it is that I'm saying about this. I'm just highlighting the hypocrisy. It makes no sense. I end on this one more time. It makes no sense for you not to condemn. If you are one of those hawkish, lock it all down, use the government to do it, it makes absolutely no sense to allow a protest to exist while condemning like concerts, church services, and other things. It makes no sense.